Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's
Caleb
and Leslie in real life.
Listen.
Side note, this is like take two because my husband forgot to press record last time. So
I low key.
I had to calm myself. I was a little upset.
She was mad, but
That's real life.
that's real life. It don't take much.
Your mama.
I did forget to record, but we're back. As I was saying before y'all heard, but we had a good conversation.
Can you look at me,
ourselves.
please?
Absolutely. For those of you who are listening, we got a camera here too, so I was trying to look at the camera. We're doing a whole different setup. It's a bunch going on. But anyway, something for those of you who have been watching us via YouTube, you may notice that I actually cut my hair. It was just too much maintenance, and yeah, I felt like
It was long overdue. I was telling people how gracious I was.
This is true. So Leslie was very gracious, very patient. She was.
Talk about it.
You could tell that she was struggling. The fact that I had this hair and she was giving me my moment, and so hats off to Leslie.
Thank you.
Her patience is paid off.
I accept.
I cut my hair. So it was too much, man. I'm not a guy who like a routine maintenance type dude, so I can't. It's just too much, and so I don't even put lotion on for real.
Well, you should at least put lotion on the visible parts of your body. You don't wear shorts, so I don't expect you to put lotion on your legs, but your hands are very visible.
That's something to consider.
Okay.
I haven't thought about that.
I guess.
Do you have a recommendation?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Nike.
You know what? Nike doesn't sponsor this yet.
But you can.
I can.
I'm
Nike you
you.
can. Nike you can with our 30 listeners. We would love for you to sponsor us. That would be great. You know what? I'm stamping this. We're starting off with 30.
All right.
Next time we'll be 30 million.
Caleb cut his hair, but I'll tell you who didn't cut his hair is Mr. Jackson.
Our
Alexander
son.
Francisco McClendon.
For those of you who don't know, Jackson is our son. He's 2 years old, and he has a ton and a lot of hair.
His hair comes down to the middle of his back.
He has a lot of hair. And my barber refuses to cut it. He said, I'm not cutting any of that beautiful hair. That's what he says.
Till he turns 3. Like, he changed it on me. At first he said 2, and now he says 3. But I am not, I didn't grow up doing my hair per se. I know it sounds a little bougie, but I've always kind of gotten it done. Shout out to my hairstylist and also my sister, who would do it at times. And with that being said, I forgot the train of thought that I was on. I think I was talking about Jackson though. Oh, doing hair. I'm not like a hair person, and he has a lot of hair for me not to be a hair person. But I try to.
What you've done from your first attempt to your to your last, I think there's progression that has been made. So shout out, kudos to you.
Yeah, I guess. But it takes me about an hour and a half to do his hair. So I try to do it like once a week. And then Jack does rock the ponytail more often than not. I let it breathe. But we're going to talk about kids today.
Talking about parenting.
Okay.
I guess it's the same thing.
I guess.
You got to have kids to be a parent.
Sure. Okay, shoot. Pew, pew. Oh my gosh, you're irritating.
We're talking about parenting today. Well, this is totally off the cuff. This is in real life for real. We got parenting. Oh, so here's a couple things that we want to just dive right into it as it relates to parents. I think oftentimes a few mistakes that we make as parents is the thing is we like to compare our kids. And that's something that I think we've all kind of fallen victim of, or we all done, is compare our kids to someone else's. You know what I'm saying? So, our child he's not progressing because he's not as advanced as so-and-so's child, or, she's not doing, so we compare. I think we have to get out of the comparison business as relates to our children, because each child functions on their own, go on their own speed. They do things. I mean, they're their own individual, and I think to compare them does them an injustice, and it does us an injustice as well. What do you think?
I agree. How would you advise a parent, though, how to not compare?
I think just focus on your child's strengths and weaknesses, and however that pans out, start to develop that. I mean, every child again is different, and you don't know that the child that you're comparing to may be advanced in this area, but super late in another area. You know what I'm saying? For example, Jackson, he is 2 years old, 2+ years
Right.
old, and Jackson does not eat food. He
Solid food.
doesn't eat solid food. He only drinks milk, and he does baby bananas.
But he's a solid boy. You
Oh,
wouldn't look at
man.
him and think that he was
Yeah,
malnourished.
he does
or
not
anything
look like he
that.
misses a meal at all. But our point is, if we were to compare, it really does look like Jackson. I mean, if we were to compare for us, it's like, man, our son is not eating. When will he eat? And this is a legit concern. But we're like, so-and-so was eating at this age, and
Right.
so-and-so was eating at that age. And it's like, man, when will he eat? But at the same time, Jackson is a brilliant child. Like, the dude can read. And
We practice sentences for
sentences.
people who don't believe us. We have this app on our iPad, and I'll write out sentences like Jackson wants to take a bubble bath, or something short like 5 words or less, and he's really skilled at reading them. At first, I was thinking when we read books to him that, he just memorized it or whatever. But then when I started writing it on the iPad, he's really gifted, and he started his quest for knowledge and retention, I would say, at like 10 months. So he didn't eat
Right.
solid food and is still not eating solid food, but he's way advanced in another area.
Right. He is. I mean, again, like, let's just say he was reading at a very early age. Like, he recognized words and he knows how to
And
put
he's
them.
still at an early age.
Right. Yeah. At an earlier age. And we have to stop comparing. And then even for people like, oh, well, Jackson will do this, like, even outside of food, Jackson will do this because my child did this when he was this age or when she was this age. And it's like,
They're different
they're
children.
different children. Just because your child did this at that age doesn't mean that my child is supposed to or not supposed to do it at that age, because we're all on different, they're all having different experiences. They all are different individuals. And honestly, if we were to bring it with us, we would hate people to compare us with other people. Oh, well, I did this at this age, so
Right.
you should be doing this at that age. I completed, or I got my doctorate degree at this age. I made my first million at this age, so why can't you? You should be, what's wrong with you? And I think it doesn't work
Especially
like
when
that.
you don't all start off on the same playing field.
You don't always start off on the same playing field. And even if you did, you're still two different or have different individuals. So it will never be the same.
I think the
So
other
stop
thing
trying to make it the same.
that I would say with kids is not to typecast them based off of how they look.
Yes.
I know we
I
talked
agree.
about how like Jackson does not look malnourished, and he's kind of a what is it? What is the
Stocky.
word? Yeah, stocky, husky
Husky,
guy.
yeah.
And so because of that, every time, well, I should say a majority of the time, when people meet our kid, they're like, oh, I know he's going to be a football player. Like, that's a linebacker. And his dad and I are always like, well, how come no one ever says, oh, I know that guy's going to be like an engineer. He's
Or
going to put the next
scientist, or,
person on the
yeah.
moon or whatever.
Right.
I just hate that because he's a stocky guy, it's always like, well, you're going to play sports.
Right. Why do, especially young boys, why
And young black boys at that, too.
Yeah, when young black boys, why does my son have to be an NBA player or a football player
in order to be successful.
in order to be successful? You're right, and it is more so black boys. And when I say black boys, because with no one ever really says, oh, he's going to be a great soccer player or a baseball player. It's always where you see predominantly black men is basketball, football.
Or you never say he's going to be a wonderful golfer.
Or a golfer. Or
Tennis.
right, why can't he be a golfer or a tennis player or a hockey player? You know, I don't want them to do that either. But my point is that, you know, that's the other thing. Stop putting these preconceived ideas, you know, on a child. Our son or your child is more than an athlete.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They can do more than just something physical, you know, putting a ball in a hole, you know what I'm saying, or in a net, regardless of the case. And I think, you know, I appreciate that. Now I'm telling, it gets to the point now I just like, I think he's gonna be an engineer. When somebody say he'll be a basketball player, football player, I'm like, no, we're aiming for engineer.
Yeah.
We're aiming for coder. Yeah, that's what we're going for. We're not going for basketball player. Now, if he becomes a basketball player, great. If he becomes a football player, great.
He can be a YouTuber.
He can. Oh man, yeah, he could be a YouTuber. Yeah, we'll say, yeah, your parents started off with 30 views, and here you are, 30 million.
I'll take it.
We'll take it.
I'm still trying to get Jack on the Ellen show for reading.
Yeah, Jackson, if you're listening to this in the future, buy your parents a house, a nice house.
That's funny.
That's real. So yeah, I think that's another great example, Leslie. Also, I think you have to, as parents, we have to swallow a hard pill when it comes to this one, regarding if our child is a leader or a follower. So, you know, it's not a bad thing to be a follower, because if your child is a leader, they have to be leading somebody. You know what I'm saying? And so you can't talk bad about followers if your child is a leader, because your child is leading followers. So that was one of our things even before Jackson was born. And my prayer was, you know, if he's a follower, then Lord,
put the right people in his path.
Absolutely, put the right people in his path that has great influence on him. If he's a leader, then Lord, let my child be a phenomenal influence for those that are around him. Let him not steer people in the wrong direction.
Operate with integrity and character. With integrity,
do the right thing at all times, even if it costs him. Like, so that's our thing, and I think that we have to understand that that's a hard pill that you can't.
Everybody can't be number one.
Everybody can't be number one.
And then sometimes number ones don't even. They like the idea of being number one, but the work of the number one is very hard. And I think maybe that's problematic too, is we automatically just want to number things according to a hierarchy and a system. So we have to say, like, if it's a senior and assistant, we have to say 1 and 2 versus
this is
we just work together in harmony.
Right, because I think, truth be told, you know, the quote-unquote number one guy or girl can't do it without the number 2 guy or girl, you know, quote-unquote number 2 guy or girl. It's just, this is, honestly, it's not, if we stop looking at it like numbers, numerical, and see it as this is more so an assignment. Like, hey, I've been assigned to, in this season of my life, to assist in this area, and I know, and when I'm operating in my assignment, then that's where I'm most effective. Regardless, whatever the position may be, whether it's the top person or the bottom, regardless of what it is, that's where I'm most effective, and that's where I know the organization or whatever thing that you may be in can prosper. But when I try to operate outside of where I'm called to, number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever the number that you want to put, that society likes to put on it, then I think that's where things becomes problematic. That's where things start to fail. That's where things start to crumble, where you have people operating outside of their lane. And so you just gotta just realize, hey, every child, you know, ain't a leader. Every child ain't a follower, and neither one is bad. You have to demonize neither one of them. But I think it is good to recognize that and just ask yourself, is my child a leader or is my child a follower? And so, in one season he may be a follower, in another season may be a leader, or vice versa. So I think understanding that is so important. So I think understanding that is so important.
And then I think maybe the last thing we could talk about is we could talk, because we'll probably have so many more segments with parenting and
we will.
Kids and stuff
we
like
definitely
that.
will.
But I think another thing would be just nurturing the gifting that you see in your kid and not neglecting that. So,
Absolutely.
for example, our kid loves books. And, I think for me, it's what can I sacrifice to really make sure my child knows that he feels special. So for instance, there are some times where I'm just like really into my social media, or I really want to watch a show, or I just might want to take a nap, and Jackson comes over my lap and he's like, want to read to mommy, want mommy to read to Jack. And if I'm honest, it's like, man, no, I don't really feel like it right
because
now.
Because Jackson wants you to read the same book
all the time,
100,000 times right after
and I'm like,
you close the book.
Mommy wants a break.
Right.
And I think it's fine to take your breaks, but at the same moment, we don't want a child or our child to come up to us and show us something that he's very passionate about and then gets used to just being shut down in that area. So if reading is like a particular gifting of his or something that he enjoys, like I want to cultivate that while he's young, because I know as he gets older, I can kind of it feels weird to say the word capitalize, but I could really invest in that area of his life.
Because truth be told, it's a lot easier for us to give him his iPad. He'd be like, here, just watch this.
Right.
Here, just, long as we pacify our, and I'm not, coming out being a parent.
But then we get kind of mad when they're not engaged in the conversation.
Right, we get mad when they're kind of disengaged. We get mad when, they're kind of like cyber zombies, if you will. But I think oftentimes as parents, putting ourselves in there, that we use the iPad or TV as a pacifier, a modern day pacifier. It's like, okay, leave me alone, stop talking. Yeah. And I think, so if you are going to go that route, I think you need to be cognizant of what's on their iPad.
Putting limits up there.
Putting limits on there. So for us, with Jackson, and we'll get back to the point as well as far as nurturing, but for Jackson, every like 90% of the things he watch are all educational things. So it's alphabet, numbers, shapes, colors. Like, Jackson, he be telling us, it's like, that's not a, like what you see is a clover, what we think is a clover. He'll say that's a quatrefoil. It was like, okay, 2-year-old.
Right.
Well, at that point, it was like almost two, a quatrefoil. And I'm like, that's a diamond. He was like, that's a rhombus. I'm like, okay. So if you are going to pacify them with technology, at least let it be something of value, something of substance. But going back to your point, as far as nurturing the gift, once you see that, again, like Leslie said, nurture it, and put them in programs. If you see they're interested in, piano, put them in piano class. And if you can't afford piano class, doggone, they got YouTube stuff on YouTube, and just, whatever the case may be, because I think that investment today will pay off for you and for them in the long run. And like you said, Les, I think that spoke volumes, is that we don't want it to be like, okay, I'm trying to show you what I'm interested in, and here you
Dismissive.
are. You dismiss it. So we don't want to set a precedence at a young age saying that, okay, what you're interested in is not important to us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or not important to me. You just do your thing. And so we don't want to dismiss it now, because I think once you set those, you're setting those rules for the future, and those are the rules that they're going to operate in the future. So when they're 10 or 5, it's like, oh, well, you already set the rules, so I'm just kind of abiding by the rules. You can't change them now. So
yeah. Oh, that's real.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think but I will say this to all of our parents that are listening, or all the people who are watching or whatnot, that give yourself grace, give yourself, bless you, give yourself, oh Lord, coronavirus?
Whatever.
Oh, okay.
If I got it, you got it.
God, you're right.
I have, whatever.
Anyway, give yourself credit. You're doing better than you think you're doing. Everybody, you got a million people writing books on how to be parents and stuff like that, but I think one thing that you need to know is that you're doing better than you think you're doing, and it's okay to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace because you need it, man. We are responsible for someone else's life, you know, and directing them and guiding them. We are literally the guides, to the tour guides, if you will, to a person's life until they're able to kind of figure it out themselves. And even then, I'm sure they'll come back.
Well, that's the goal.
That is the goal. I think if you do it right, I think that's the goal.
That's my goal. Our goal.
Our goal, yeah, is that they still be, you know, ready and willing to come back. You don't have to, like, where you at? You know, I ain't seen you and heard from you in, you know, 6 weeks. No, I think the goal is to, you know, to impart, and so much so, and make it enjoyable. But you're doing better than you think you're doing. Give yourself credit. Give yourself grace. It's okay. Yep. It is okay. You won't get it right all the time. No one does. So take the pressure up.
Just do better than you did the last time.
Do better than you did the last time.
And on that note, that is what we have to say today.
Leslie wants us
I have to pick up my son.
Leslie has to pick. Oh, now it's her son. So this whole podcast was about Leslie's son.
My son, Jackson.
The whole podcast was about Jackson. Anyway, what if I told you I wasn't recording this either? Would you be mad at me?
You are recording. I wouldn't be mad. I just wouldn't do it the next go round.
So for those of y'all who've been saying y'all ain't been every week, well, just know
that my husband tries to record when it's most inconvenient for me. Okay, listen. That is the truth. If y'all want Caleb and Leslie in real life, this is real life.
She know that
honestly,
we gotta
he just
record
wants to pick a fight
every
right
week.
now. Whatever.
She know. I'm about to get our ratings up right now. No,
I'm a peacemaker.
But this is we're gonna try. We're trying to get it out as consistent as possible. So
consistently.
Thank you. Consistently as possible. So
it's like, I don't know.
We'll make it. We're gonna make it happen. Y'all keep hanging with us, and we'll put out some dope stuff. We continue to put out dope stuff. Listen, anything y'all want us to talk about, please email us. Go to www.calebandlesleypodcast.com.
You sure you know the address?
I think that's it. CalebandLesleyPodcast.com. There's a mailing. You can get on the mailing
mailing list.
Mailing list. Thank you, dear. Caleb and Leslie Real Life. So get on the mailing list. I think there's a little note section there. Hit us up. We would love to, you know, anything that you want us to talk about, email us. All of our information on there, so you can follow us, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, podcast. All like, subscribe, and rate us. So we love you guys. We will see you later. I gotta change my emoji thing.
Me emoji.
You see that? Why you always trying to correct me?
So do you want Caleb and Leslie or not? Because it sounds like you just want Caleb.
Oh, she already.
And on that note, God bless you and good night.
Took my child away. Now it's her child. No, she's right. I gotta change my emoji because I got my hair.
It's the Caleb show, y'all.
It's the Caleb show. All right, Leslie's going in the bathroom now. I'll say goodbye. Sign it off. Peace.